Good morning, fellow humans. Today is December 30th, 2023. My name is Edward Bevilacqua. This is Department of Career Services, and we are in a very cold, place here in Pahrump. Well, I guess that's as dark as it's going to go. So once again, they ran out of gas. Not because we actually ran out of gas. I have a 7-gallon tank sitting over there, but by the time I was able to get back, it was too dark to put it in. So, lesson learned. Seek discomfort, and I got it. Okay, cool. So, good morning. Good morning. Second to last day of the year. Time to reflect and prepare, plan for the future. Our goal is very simple. So go to that. We have a very simple goal to help you on your journey, your life's journey, from where you are to someplace better. So as the advice from an 80-year-old says today, have it so that your epitaph says no regrets, or your tombstone says no regrets. People say about you, he lived with no, or she lived with no regrets. So we're here to help you on your journey through life. The key word is help, not do, not show. We're here to help you on your journey through life. How do we do it? Well, we do it through this podcast and the worksheet linked below. That's how we do it. We do it through those things. And how do we do it? Through the podcast, by you making it part of your daily routine, part of your habit to watch it, because you just never know. Today might be the day that you actually got something out of it. It's not so much just getting something out of it, it's the routine, it's the habit, it's the discipline of actually doing a thing, having good habits, developing good habits every day. That's it. So that's probably, thinking back over the year, it's probably the most important thing about this is it's coming back every day. And I can tell you, the people I talk to who sometimes watch this, it's not, surprising me. One of the thumbs up I get almost daily is from one of the most successful people in Las Vegas. Why? Because it's part of his routine. It's part of the thing he does every day. And if you have good habits, if you have good routines, the result is going to be self-evident. Okay, so let's get started with our breathing exercise. The instructions are not down below because down below is today's worksheet. But we start with a breathing exercise to fill up our lungs, get the most amount of oxygen in, get the old out, in with the new. So 3, 2, 1. There we go. That's done. So on the weekend, so this is a 4-part transformational program where we think of a table with 4 legs. Your life is like the table, the top of the table. What's on the table are your accomplishments through life. You want to stack them on this table. So you want to have a very sturdy table. And the table has 4 legs. One of the legs is the physical, another is mental, another is emotional, and spiritual. So those 4 parts. To really maximize your journey, you need to focus on those 4 parts. Because let's say you're really mentally good, but you're physically in bad shape. Or you're physically really good, but you're mentally in bad shape. Or you're physically and mentally good, but emotionally you're very not tough. And what we say here is, if you can't control your emotions, don't worry, someone else will, and they'll probably take you out of the game. 100% of the people in prison have been taken out of the game. They're no longer in the game. They're out of the game. They're in prison. They're in a different game. They're not in the world of men and machines. They're out of the game. They're not on their journey unless somehow when they get out, they take what they learned when they were in prison, incarcerated, and they use that to create a better future. And there's some examples of that in my daily life. People I work with or have communication with almost every day were incarcerated for a material amount of time, meaning not jail, and that has become the fuel to propel them forward. And man, it is pure fuel. I mean, these people are very, very, very impressive, and I'm lucky to get to know them. Anyway, so we're 6 minutes in, more than 6 minutes in. We did our breathing thing. The topic for the weekend. So on the weekends, we focus on the spiritual, not the mental, physical, not the mental, not the emotional. We focus on the spiritual. Why? Because it ultimately is the most important. Why? Because if you really get down to what is this all about, if you accept we're not just atoms in the void, and there is a purpose, then there's a purpose to life, not a plan. There's a purpose to life, then that should be our ultimate goal. What is the purpose of life, and how do I maximize that? How do I actualize that? How do I realize that purpose? Now, if you think we're just atoms in the void, then all's fair in love and war. Whatever you can do, you should do, because you were only going to experience this existence one time. We're going to do it one time, and then it's over, and nothing really matters anyway, right? If we're just atoms in the void, nothing really matters. The only reason to follow the law is to not have to suffer the consequences of getting caught. In other words, not get taken out of the game. But if we're just atoms in the void and you're not going to get caught, you should do whatever it is that makes you happy, because there's no point. All right, we don't accept that as true. So we accept that we are not just atoms in the void, and that there is some purpose in meeting. And like Viktor Frankl would say, life asks us the question, what is the meaning of your life? We don't ask, what is the meaning? We don't say, well, God has some plan for me. He's playing hide and go seek with me. He's playing Marco Polo with me, and I got to figure it out. And it's very elusive. And this person says that, and this person says this, and I've got, Clarke's fourth law problems all over the place. We don't subscribe to that. So, but what we're going to talk about today is the categorical imperative. What? Yeah, the categorical imperative. One of the three foundations for trying to navigate a path, create and navigate through a path. So yesterday we talked about Occam's razor, the law of parsimony, which I couldn't remember yesterday. The law of parsimony. Choose the simplest answer. Given a choice of this and that, complicated, not complicated, choose the less complicated one. Clarke's fourth law. That's Occam's razor. Clarke's fourth law is, for every expert, there's an equal and opposite expert. We need to avoid Clarke's fourth law problems. Because when you get to a Clarke's fourth law problem, you have this expert versus that expert, and they're actually experts, then you don't know. You have no way of knowing what is true, because if this expert is wrong, that means they're not really an expert, right? That's just somebody who might be persuasive, might have a good story, but not an expert, because they're wrong. Can't be an expert and be wrong. That's not what the definition of an expert. Okay. Today, categorical imperative, and it just so happens to go with the TED Talk-ish section for today, the video for today. Categorical imperative, Kant's categorical imperative, moral maxims, etc. The link to the videos down below, like Stories of Old, very good 15-minute video. You should absolutely watch. If you're going to do one thing today, watch this, because it really breaks it down very well. And I have a graphic, a picture from a screenshot, a description of the categorical imperative. What is a maxim? A maximum is a moral rule. So the categorical imperative, as described in the video, can have two parts or two perspectives. One is the universalizability principle, and the second is respect for persons. So universalizability, yesterday I described as, imagine you want to do something, you say it's a law, and everybody has to do it, and then you ask, would the world be a better place? Okay, well, here's how it's described in the video today. Act according to that maxim. So you have a maximum, moral rules. So that would be like the equivalent to a law that everybody has to live by. So you have a maxim. Universalizability principle says act only according to that maxim, whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. In other words, you have a maximum moral rule and you say everybody has to do that. And then you look and see what is the consequence of everybody doing that maxim, everybody following that maxim. Number two, respect for persons. So act in such a way that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, never merely as a means to an end, but always at the same time as an end. In other words, don't treat people as means, we treat them as an end. People are not objects to be moved or manipulated. You need to treat them as an end in themselves. Now, he goes on to say, that doesn't mean you don't use me and I don't use you. It just means that we don't treat somebody as an end or as a means to an end. So the example he gives in the video is, you're using me to get a grade. This is the professor. You're using me to get a grade, and I'm using you to earn a living. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. But to manipulate people is not okay. Categorical imperative. So this is, how do we know how to proceed along the path of our journey? One of the tools is the categorical imperative. So you have a maxim, moral rule. You have a moral rule and you universalize it, meaning if everybody does it, what's the consequence? Really simple. So maybe today, write down a number of maxims, a number of moral rules that you have of how to treat people. For example, niceness is weakness. That would be a maxim. That's a moral rule. Now, if everybody acted that way, that niceness is weakness, what would the result be? Not good. Correct. Right? How about this one? Jesus' commandment, second commandment, which we have down below. The second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Now, what if we universalize that? What if everybody loved their neighbor as themselves? Okay, well, there's going to be a normal distribution. Yes, there are people who are crazy that don't like themselves. So we're not, it doesn't refer to those people. It doesn't say all people in the world. It's rational people. So if all rational people loved their neighbor as they love themselves, would the world be a better place? Yes. Okay, now you can bleed that back, step that back to religion. If everybody treated someone of a different religion as themselves, would the world be a better place? In other words, if you're a Muslim and you treated Christians as if they were Muslims, would the world be a better place? Yes, if they were Jews. If all Muslims treated Jews as if they were Muslims, would the world be a better place? Yeah. In other words, it's like, well, you can believe whatever you want to believe. You've got your God, you've got your beliefs. Cool. Boom. I love you for your beliefs like I love me for my beliefs. I'm here to support you in your beliefs. I don't share your beliefs, but I support you in having those beliefs. Would the world be a better place? Yes. Why don't we talk about that? Because it doesn't work in the world of men and machines, right? Okay, we're at 15 minutes and 32 seconds. Oh, Wadabevi is here. Good morning, Wadabevi. How long have you been on? Do I look like I'm shivering? Shiver my timbers. Yes, okay. So here we are. We're at almost 16 minutes in. Categorical imperative. Categorical imperative. Universalizability and respect for persons. Does it fit in with Jesus's commandments? Yes. Once again, if we go to Matthew chapter 22, verses 37 through 40, Jesus said the Sadducees and the Pharisees were trying to trick Jesus. What's the most important commandment? Jesus said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all of your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So I was at a church Bible study thing last night. None of that was part of it. Oh, all Paul's letters, nothing from Jesus. And people say they're Christians. People say they're Christians. But what? But they don't follow Christ. They talk about Christ, but they don't follow what Christ said. They didn't use the word love one time. Okay, anyway, we're going to wrap it up. Great day. I'm going to Las Wages this morning at 7:30, have an eye exam. Hope to be getting new contacts and good things happening. It's good to be alive. And with that, I'm going to say, and cut. Wadabevi.